Shalom Aleichem, a good Erev Shabbos. We're a few days before Yom Kippur. You know, Yom Kippur, we speak about the importance of asking for forgiveness, mechila, from each other, because the day itself, Itzumei Shel Yom, the fasting on Yom Kippur, that itself atones for the transgressions between man and Hashem, man and God. But those issues between ourselves, you need to humble yourself, call your friend, and talk to him and ask for forgiveness for something that you did that was inappropriate. And I speak about this because of a very important issue that's happening right here in Brooklyn, in Borough Park, where I live. And it involves Chabad, Lubavitch. It also involves other Hasidic community, or those that belong officially, unofficially to Satmar and other such communities. And this is the controversy that's been brewing and stewing about the Hasidic Shul on 12th Avenue, 41st Street, called Anshe Lubavitch, Beis Yitzchak, after my dear Rosh Hashiva Harav Hagoin Reb Yitzchak Dov Ber Ushpal. So today I'm going to talk about the importance of this shul, and also the importance and understanding why this shul is not like another shul which has a board and it makes decisions and you could do whatever you want at the end of the day. And to understand this, a little perspective needs to be known. The Lubavitch, Chabad Lubavitch movement, the 200-year movement, has an entire background. And the background is that the Rabbeim, the holy Rebbes of Lubavitch, starting from the Balatanya, who everyone agrees was a great tzaddik. He wrote the Alter Rebbe Shulchan Aruch, the Rav Shulchan Aruch, and he wrote the Tanya and others for him, the Maimorim, Likutei Torah, and Torah Oir. Everyone understands that was passed from generation to generation to our Rebbe, and it continues today. All of the institutions, all of the buildings, all of the programs are headed by them. They were the final say. In Lubavitch and Chabad, there's no such a thing that people tell the Rebbe what to do. It doesn't exist, it never has, it never is, and never will be. The Rebbe is Koiveya. The Rabbeim, Rabbi Seinu Nisiyenu, our holy Rebbes, they set the agenda. We don't set the agenda. And therefore, I speak to the Rabbanim who are dealing with this case in Bezdin now. Who does the property belong to? A board that many say illegally stacked the board and decided now that they want to put up, condominiums and give the shul, a beautiful shul in the basement. It's not up to them. It doesn't belong to them. It belongs to Lubavitch. It belongs to the Chabad, Merkez Linyonei Chinuch, whatever. I'm not going into which organization it belongs to. Let's just say the Chabad Lubavitch umbrella. This is also documented in America from the early 1920s, when Rabbi Jacobson, Rabbi Simpson, Rabbi Rifkin, Rabbi Levitin, Rabbi Kazanovsky, these were the people who were here early on, and they were supervising all of the Lubavitch Chabad shuls, not only in the greater New York area, but also the greater Eastern Coast, East Coast, etc. And particularly in the New York area, Brownsville in the 20s and 30s was called the Yerushalayim of America, the Jerusalem of America, with 200,000 Jews there, with hundreds of shuls and shtiblach. Okay, it's so hard to believe because the neighborhood is so decrepit today and very different. Although there is now a group of Chabad Lubavitch Hasidim that have moved in the area and have a minyan, and they have programs, and they're going to rebuild with Hashem's help, with God's help. But nevertheless, Rabbi Jacobson, Rabbi Yisrael Jacobson, you can see in his Sefer, Zikaron Livnei Yisrael, his memories, it's documented, it's kind of a diary, it's firsthand not a kind of, it is a diary, a first-hand account. And he tells you exactly about the shuls, about the people in great detail. Then in Kovetz Lubavitch, page 213, we come across Rabbi Sholem Ber Vashetsky Vasholem, who taught Tanya, and he came there to Farbrengen in the Anshe Lubavitch Shul in Brooklyn. This was, I believe, in 1956 or 57. But it says there that the president and some of the other members remember when the Frierdiker Rebbe came, and that's alluding to 1929, because the Rebbe was in Brownsville for Rosh Hashanah 1929, and it says there that he, and first he was in Borough Park. So he came I think September 12th or 13th, and we already had a clip about this. And they went to Rabbi Simpson's new house, new shul, on 14th Avenue, corner 46th Street. And it seems like at that time he also went to visit this Anshe Lubavitch Shul. I understand there was a picture of it, and there was a postcard that he wrote to the Rebbe during that visit, which has since been confiscated, and it's not available. We don't have it. But someone, Rabbi Moshe Reiport, Harav Agoin, Rabbi Yitzchak Reiport's son, who was involved with this whole situation and doing a fantastic job, told me that he actually saw the card. He had the card, and it was stolen from him. Getting back to the point, that the Lubavitcher community and the Lubavitcher shuls you see over there in Rabbi Jacobson's documentation, this was a very organized effort coming from on top. The previous Rebbe wanted to know how many shuls there are and who are the members, and are they learning Mishnayos, and are they learning Gemara, and they're learning the Chassidus, and are they Farbrengen and Yutas Kislev, and it goes on. And therefore the Rabbanim, the rabbis of the Bezdin, that are dealing with this, I hope that they have a chance to see this short clip and understand that this is coming from myself, who, Baruch Hashem, this is something I do, as a historian, studying, Hasidic Judaism in general and Chabad particularly. I'm telling you that this isn't just another shul, that a board, legal or illegal, can decide what to do with a shul. This belongs to Lubavitch. First, you need permission from Lubavitch. Once you have permission from Lubavitch, you can go on. And to understand this again, you need to really go through many, many pages in various history books about Lubavitch and Chabad to understand the overall umbrella and the overall background for this shul, Anshe Lubavitch, on 12th Avenue, 41st Street. Another point, before Rabbi Ushbal became rabbi, Rabbi Simpson was there actually before he opened up his shul in 1929. He was there, I believe, in 1928. So he was a Talmud of the Rebbe Rashab, of course, Satmar lauds and praises because they believe he was anti-Zionism and all that. We're not going to go into that right now, but he, by them, is holy, holy, holy. Okay, well, the Rashab sent Rabbi Simpson to America, and he was a Rav in that shul. Afterwards, in 1954, 55, I forget exactly which year, Rabbi Ushbal became the rabbi, the Rav, my Rosh Hashiva, and he was a Yid from Kurnitz, from Lithuania, I believe, and he was a real Lubavitcher. His name, Yitzchak Dov Ber, is named after the son of one of the sons of the Tzemach Tzedek. And I knew him personally, and I was very close to him. He was like a father to me. He used to, pinch my back my cheeks, and put his hand around me. He was a very loving person. I remember in 1976 or 77, when I was in his class, he invited us for Lag Baimer to his house. He lived on 44th or 45th Street between 12th and 13th Avenue, and he made a Sudas Lag Baimer. It was the first time that we saw colored eggs because of the rainbow. Lag Baimer, so this is the type of Yid that you had, and he lived several blocks away from the shul. My understanding is also that he had correspondence and notes that he took the entire time, and he was very close to the Rebbe. Rabbi Leibel Groner once said that the Rebbe called the Rabbi Ushpal a friend of his. I mean, he was very, very close to the Rebbe because they worked together on the Mara Mekaymis, the references and citations to the Maimorim of the previous Rebbe of 1946, 47, 48. Those years, the Rebbe added citations and insights and explanations, and he had Rabbi Ushpal help with some of that as well. And he was the Rav there for 35 years till he passed away in the mid-1980s. The Balabatim, Rabbi Yosef Muskel and Rabbi Yosef Goldberg, both of who I know, Baruch Hashem, they're alive and well, and they should live till Mashiach. Both were board members there as Lubavitchers. So there's no question that Rabbi Ushpal and his people wanted it to stay a Lubavitch Shul. Now the fact that they davened Nusach Sfard, not Ari, so that itself needs to be looked at. When did that take place? Why did it take place? But that it was Anshi Lubavitch and it belonged to Lubavitch with all the glory and pride, there's no question about it. Afterwards, after Rabbi Ushpal's passing, Rabbi Yitzchak Reiport, Harav Agoin, Rabbi Yitzchak Reiport, the Baal HaMechaber of Sefer and the Rambam and many other Svarim, was Rav there. He was the rabbi there until they asked him to leave for whatever reason, and my understanding is it wasn't done in a pleasant way, but I'm not going to go into that now. It's out of the Yom Kippur. The Nekuda is that here's a third Lubavitch Rav. So we have Simpson, Ushpal, and Reitport. Shleisha Pamim have a chazaka. From all sides, Rabbi Isai, Rabbanim, Taira Rabbanim, dear rabbis, and Bezdin. This is Chabad. I mean, there's not even a question about it. And therefore, Hashem should help that in the schus of the Aseret Yemei Tshuva, let us really be honest with ourselves and do tshuva and relinquish our desire to make money on a heilige property. This is simply a money issue, and this has to stop. Yiddishkeit and Torah transcends money, and you don't make money on kedusha, because anyone who makes money on kedusha, it's not good. That's it. Let's not go further. It's not good. You're playing with fire. Don't play with fire. Be moed ala emes. Find yourself other properties that you can make money on, and leave this Anshi Lubavitch to be a shul with its facade. It's so, if you take a look at it, look online, you'll see such a beautiful, interesting, it started, remember, in the 1920s, and it was the first shul in Borough Park at the time. So there's a lot of history. I'm sure if it went to court, it would become a landmark. There's not even a question. So the nostalgia is there, the history is there, the tears of Yidden, of all kinds of Yidden, are in the walls in that shul. To knock down the walls, you want to repair the walls, repair them. But to knock down the walls and to knock down the facade and to change the entire appearance and to make it into a condominium building with a shul in the basement is simply disgusting, wrong, and outrageous. And Hashem should help that the Rabbanim should look at the emes and not, pilpul and zich like this or like that, which means debate it and dialogue this way or that way. But it's crystal clear that this belongs to Lubavitch and it should remain a shul with its current facade. And they should help. We should be zoicha to bring this shul to Yerushalayim together with other shuls, b'mheira v'yameinu, with a gemar chsima teva to each and every yid, and have a great Shabbos and a great Yom Kippur. Amen v'amen.